The Summer I Turned Pretty has always been about more than a love triangle. It's about growing up, heartbreak, friendship, family, and the way grief changes people forever. But let's be honest, the love triangle is what's kept most of us glued to the screen season after season. And now, after the season 3 finale, everyone's asking the same question. Is this really the end? Or is there one more chapter left to tell? Because if this was supposed to be the grand conclusion, it sure didn't feel like it. Instead, it left us with messy emotions, unresolved threads, and the sneaking suspicion that Amazon is planning one last surprise. Maybe not a season 4, but a movie to tie everything together once and for all. But before we talk about what's next, let's unpack everything that happened in this wild final episode. Conrad showing up in Paris should have been the ultimate swoon moment. He literally crossed an ocean, spent over 10 hours on a plane, and showed up ready to fight for the girl he's always loved. But instead of the tearful reunion he imagined, he got Belly 2.0. And this Belly is not the shy, lovesick girl we first met years ago at Cousins Beach. This Belly is bold, confident, independent, and completely in her own world. She's even rocking a bright red lipstick. Whether it suits her or not is debatable, but the point is it makes her feel strong. And when she sees Conrad, instead of throwing herself into his arms, she's annoyed, almost inconvenienced. That single moment told us everything. We are not in Cousins anymore. Still, Belly agrees to spend the day with him before her birthday party, which is where the episode slips into full TV fantasy. Somehow, in one afternoon, they manage to hit the Louvre, the Champs-Élysées, and even Versailles. If you've ever been to Paris, you know how absurd that is. Versailles alone takes half a day, and the Louvre, you need at least 2 or 3 hours just to get through the highlights. But hey, TV logic. We'll let it slide. As the day goes on, Conrad finally steps into Belly's new apartment, which, let's be real, no waitress in Paris could afford. But the place is beautiful, and more importantly, it represents Belly's new life. She's not the girl waiting around for Conrad or Jeremiah anymore. She's built something for herself. And as Conrad looks around, he notices things that make his stomach drop. New friends, new routines, and maybe even a new guy. Belly is no longer orbiting around him, and for the first time, he realizes he might actually be too late. That realization hits even harder at her birthday dinner. Surrounded by her French friends, Belly is a completely different person, laughing, smoking, drinking, and fitting right in. And then comes the most uncomfortable moment of all, the French bluntness. They put Conrad on the spot, straight up asking about his feelings for Belly. If it was awkward to watch, imagine living it. But somehow, both Conrad and Belly handle it gracefully. That's also where we learn her mysterious boyfriend isn't so mysterious anymore. He's an ex. And not just any ex, but the Enrique Iglesias lookalike she broke up with 6 weeks ago. That changes everything. Suddenly, the door that seemed firmly shut cracks open again. Conrad and Belly start reconnecting, and this time it's not the innocent teenage crush of the past. There's real chemistry, real passion, and Paris, of all cities, sets the perfect backdrop. By the end of the night, they give in to those feelings, and for a moment it feels like everything fans have wanted is finally happening. But the fairy tale doesn't last. The next morning, Belly pulls back. She tells Conrad she has her own life now, that sleeping together doesn't magically mean they're back together, and she questions why he even came to Paris. Her words sting, but she's not wrong. At the same time, it feels almost cruel. Because what did she expect would happen when she let him back in, especially after their history? This is Belly at her most complicated, acknowledging her role as the villain of her own story, yet still repeating the same messy patterns. And here's where the finale turns into a rom-com cliché, but one I secretly loved. Just as Conrad prepares to leave, Belly has her big realization. She's been in love with him all along. She runs to the train station, tracks him down, and confesses everything. They kiss, they embrace, and for a moment, all is forgiven. It's sweet, it's dramatic, and it's the kind of ending that makes you cheer even while your brain screams, "Wait, what? That was too fast." Because here's the issue. In Jenny Han's books, this reunion doesn't happen overnight. It's slow. It's careful. Conrad starts writing Belly letters, and only after months does she write back. They rebuild piece by piece, and eventually, years later, their love is stronger than ever, strong enough to lead to marriage. That ending feels earned. The show's version, however, skips all that growth and just drops them right back into a relationship, and it feels rushed. Even more frustrating is how Jeremiah's storyline wraps up. Instead of processing the heartbreak of losing Belly, he suddenly falls into a new relationship with Stephen's coworker, who, by the way, was literally flirting with Stephen not long ago. It's lazy writing. A last-minute bandage on a wound that deserved more care. Jeremiah deserved better than being shoved into a rebound just so fans wouldn't feel sorry for him. And this is why so many fans, myself included, walked away from this finale feeling unsatisfied. Belly admits she's the villain, Conrad gets the girl, Jeremiah gets a random new fling, and Susanna's ghost still looms over all of it. It doesn't feel like closure. It feels like a setup for something else. Which brings me back to the big question. Is Amazon done with this story, or are they holding back one final chapter? Because in the books, the real ending is Conrad and Belly's wedding. It's emotional, it's cathartic, and it includes Susanna's letter, her blessing from beyond the grave. Without that, this saga feels incomplete. And given how rushed this finale was, I can't shake the feeling that they're saving that moment for something else. Maybe a special, maybe a movie, maybe even a spin-off. If I had to guess, I'd say a movie in 2026 makes the most sense. It would give the characters time to grow up, heal, and settle into who they really are before giving us the ending fans have been waiting for. Because love triangles are messy, but closure is everything. And right now, The Summer I Turned Pretty still doesn't have it. So, what do you think? Was this finale a satisfying conclusion? Or do you also feel like we've been left hanging? And would you watch a movie that gave us the wedding and Susanna's letter? Personally, I think it's the only way to finish this story the way it deserves.